everyone. Thank you for joining us for the ACAP Cleveland second in our masterclass series, a program we've initiated during the pandemic time here of our members who are sharing their various specialties and fields. And tonight we want to welcome Ivana Didovic, who's a licensed counselor. And Ivana, please correct me if I didn't say the correct terminology, when you start your presentation. She's going to talk to us about mental health basics, especially during the time of COVID. So thank you all for joining us, and we'll have a question and answer period at the end. We can use the chat box as a nice, easy way to do it. And if that doesn't work for some reason, you can just go ahead and turn your mics on and ask Ivana some questions. So I'm going to hand it over to Ivana, and thank you so much. It's all yours.
Sounds good. Thank you. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and can you see my screen?
I cannot.
Okay, one moment. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So again, thank you everyone for coming tonight. My name is Ivana Didovic, and I have been an ACAP member for a couple of years now. I wanted to do a talk on mental health made simple today because I know there is a bigger kick now on mental health and what it means and why it's important and things like that. And I just wanted to give some helpful tips as to why you should focus on mental health and how you can kind of incorporate it into your day-to-day routine. I am an LPC, which means licensed professional counselor. I have my master's in clinical and mental health counseling, and I work for a company called Crossroads Health, and I am a school-based provider in the Mentor School District. So first, I kind of wanted to go over why mental health matters and why we should even care about this. Mental health honestly affects every single part of our life. For example, obviously, if you're anxious, your heart rate will rise. But neglecting your mental health can lead to really more serious complications, such as, for example, heart disease, high blood pressure, weakened immune system, asthma, obesity, and possible premature death. And that's per BCBS. People with mental health concerns are really less likely to receive the physical health care that they need. And mental illnesses can alter hormonal balances and sleep cycles, causing internal issues in your body. So kind of the big thing with why mental health matters is that it clearly affects our physical health and how we feel in our live day to day. And again, they can lead to more serious health complications. And while suffering with a mental health issue, we're more likely to make quick decisions or avoid making decisions altogether. So issues like anxiety can make it difficult to form coherent thoughts, to concentrate and even remember information. The University of Colorado at Boulder, a professor named Yuko Manakata found that the worse someone's anxiety was, the worse they were at making decisions, and the activity in their left ventrolateral prefrontal cortex was less typical. So obviously that within your brain is kind of what helps you make decisions, think, act, things like that. So with high stress and anxiety, your brain just doesn't work as well. And another study done by the Department of Psychology at the University of Missouri stated that a higher overall satisfaction of life was associated with fewer psychiatric symptoms. So when your mental health is deteriorating, your overall life satisfaction lowers too. And although overall life satisfaction is subjective, those with mental health issues report feeling down, lower self-esteem, and things like that. So the big question here is, when we're sick, we go to the doctor for help. Why is it such a big stigma, and why, when our mental health is suffering, are we so reluctant to ask for help from professionals or really a lot of people around us? So the stigma surrounding mental health. 1 in 5 American adults will have a diagnosable mental health condition any given year. 50% of Americans will meet the criteria for a diagnosable mental health condition sometime in their life. And half those people will have developed those conditions by the age of 14. So if so many people have so many mental health issues, why is there such a stigma surrounding mental health? Our society sees mental health as a very uncomfortable topic and a difficult topic too. In a survey done of over 1,700 adults in the UK, they found that mental health problems, people believe that those people with mental health problems could become dangerous. And they also believe that mental health problems are self-inflicted. And although neither of these things are true, kind of across the board, that's what they found with young adults, with the older adults, middle-aged, really everyone kind of felt that way. And again, they also felt that it was difficult to talk about. But throughout history, mental health has also been treated differently and even brutalized. So within history, people used to be seen, if they had a mental health issue, as having demons inside of them. And that kind of developed into this more stigma of people with mental health issues are dangerous, which again, is absolutely not true. And so when people have these mental health issues, seeing that there's such a stigma around it, it makes people feel different than normal, and it leads to behaviors from society that make having mental health issues very difficult. So if we don't accept it as a society, it's very difficult to seek the help that you need. And stigma can also hinder a recovery for the individual. So even if people are seeking the help, this stigma kind of hinders their development and them finding their success. And again, these are just some statistics that I mentioned, but I think they're important, so I wanted to go over them. Again, more than 50% of Americans are going to be diagnosed with a mental illness or disorder at some point in their lifetime. 1 in 5 Americans are going to experience a mental illness in a given year. And 1 in 5 children, either currently or at some point during their life, have had a seriously debilitating mental illness, meaning something such as schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or major depressive disorder. And then again, 1 in 25 Americans live with a serious mental illness such as schizophrenia, bipolar, or major depression. So some simple ideas that I felt we could incorporate into our daily routines, our day-to-day kind of lifestyle, that would be helpful to mental health. First is to track your achievements. Number 1, this is so important. It could be daily, it could be weekly, it could be monthly, but it focuses on the positive, and as we tend to dwell on the negative. And these achievements can be as small or large as you want. So something as simple as I drank more water today, or something, as great as I received a promotion today. But writing down these small victories can boost your morale and your self-esteem, which give more motivation for future goals. And again, those future goals could be you drink more water the next day, or you got into a program that you've really been hoping to get into. So just seeing your achievements kind of outlined gives you more confidence and boosts your morale to want to succeed and give more to yourself. The next idea is to write out what is bothering you. So being able to see any issue with a pen and paper releases the thoughts from your mind, and it's a great therapeutic exercise. It's also proven to reduce the symptoms of depression and anxiety. So when the problem passes, write down what happened and how you felt. Most of the time you'll realize that our thoughts really make the problems in our head a lot bigger than they truly are. And it also gives you a chance to revisit the problem at a later time after being able to take a step back and give it some thought. So writing out what is bothering you, this helps a lot with those that deal with anxiety, because most of the time, people with anxiety or just mental health issue, a lot of times the problems in our head are a lot bigger than really what they seem to be in real life. So being able to write it out and just see it on a pen and paper kind of gives a relaxation moment. The next idea I had was plan out exciting times for yourself. And originally when I wrote this, I saw plan out exciting times as taking a trip, taking a getaway or something like that. But this also could mean going to your favorite restaurant or a reservation at a new restaurant or something similar to that. Really anything that you feel could bring any optimism in your life. So when we have something to look forward to, we're excited to continue to get through the day and even get through the most boring and mundane tasks, and things that you typically just wouldn't care for. Having something to look forward to really gives you that extra boost. And then the last one, and this seems to be very difficult for myself and for many others, is to make sleep a priority. So it can seem to get, it's really hard to get a lot of sleep. With a busy schedule, with Corona, we're kind of in a time where it's uneasy, you know, are we going places, are we not? It's kind of difficult at the moment. So with our busy schedules, it's very difficult to get sleep, but incorporating this into your life can reduce your chances of developing depression, or even reduce the symptoms of depression if you already have it. And also, if you wake up multiple times a night and feel like you are trying to go to sleep, but you're not getting your best sleep, this goes back to kind of writing things out. Try and see what happens the nights that you don't get a lot of sleep, or what happens the day before. Maybe putting the phone away earlier, less caffeine, making your bedroom a sanctuary for yourself. Those are just some ideas. But if you kind of see trends, and if you write it all out, you can notice the trends and the days that you don't get a lot of sleep, what's happening with your body and what's happening with your mind. And those are some simple ideas, but here are some day-to-day ideas that are very helpful, and just kind of incorporating them into your routine and just finding different ways to do these things. So incorporating mindfulness. I know there's a big kick on mindfulness right now, but it's kind of difficult to see what that actually means. So essentially, mindfulness helps control our attention and train our minds to focus on what's necessary. So this doesn't mean that you need to take an hour out of your day to just sit in silence by yourself and clear your head. What mindfulness truly is just being able to relax, focus on your breath, and it could be as little as 5 minutes. But you just kind of focus on your breath and notice how your body feels, and kind of notice what comes to the forefront of your mind. And this can help you see what you feel your priorities are, what the big things in your life are, and just things that are stressing you out at the moment. The benefits of mindfulness are decreased stress and anxiety first. You increase your focus and attention, and better communication and relationships. When you're able to just kind of notice where your mind goes, where your mind wanders, you're able to develop and focus more on what you need to focus more. And then again, you can develop better relationships. And again, better sleep, going back to how having a sleep schedule would help out. Setting aside the same time each day and working up to your goal, I think, is the best way to do so. So I think something simple as 5 minutes of mindfulness before bed, just kind of sitting with your breath and being able to relax your body, would really kind of kill two birds with one stone here, getting better sleep and trying to incorporate mindfulness into your routine. And like exercise, it needs to be practiced and can absolutely be uncomfortable, but it helps clear your mind. And studies have shown ties to friends and family with these better connections improves mental health. And the next idea was to call your friends and family. And this doesn't mean that you need to call your friends and family every single day, or, you know, talk about emotions and feelings constantly. That's not all of what mental health is. It really is just something that makes you feel better. So calling your friends and family can absolutely be helpful, and having a simple talk as to, you know, what's going on in your life this weekend or what the weather is outside can be absolutely very helpful. And studies have shown that strong ties to family and friends have led to a positive growth. A lack of social connection can lead to depression and a faster cognitive decline. And talking to people who you have strong relationships with can bring peace of mind. The next one is using positive affirmations with yourself. And this is something that some might laugh at, and you might feel silly at first, but truly talking to yourself each day feeds positivity into your day, which lessens the symptoms of anxiety and depression. And I know it can be very difficult to talk to yourself, but just starting out your day, telling yourself in the mirror something nice about yourself has a big impact on how you go about the rest of your day. And again, practice develops into habits. So if you start your day by telling yourself something good about yourself, and you have to say it out loud, it begins to feel normal and it begins to be part of your routine. And then you can maybe find times throughout the day too to continue this practice. And again, it feels weird at first, but it definitely boosts confidence, boosts self-esteem, and it begins to feel more normal over time. And then kind of the last idea that I had for everyone was to track your emotions throughout the day. And this can be extremely helpful because it shows the trends in how you feel at certain times of the day or when certain things happened. So just some ideas to throw out there: journals, apps, or even just at the end of the day reviewing how you felt can help you realize why you're feeling certain ways. And a lot of apps now have graphs where you can track trends throughout the week. And when we see our highs and lows throughout the day, we can start to notice why we felt those ways and what affects us, who affects us, how certain stressors in life affect us, and we can then learn how to deal with them better. And the biggest thing about mental health is you have to get to know yourself. So there are many different ways to help your own mental health. Obviously, again, like I said, mental health is not one size fits all, and you have to figure out what makes you feel best. So trying out new things throughout the week can really help find what is best for you. It doesn't mean you always have to be practicing journaling or mindfulness or talking about your feelings and emotions. It just means things like watching your favorite TV show, taking a long lunch, or spending time with family. Whatever makes you happy and whatever gets you to kind of keep yourself on track and get to know yourself is best for your mental health. And there are a ton of resources for mental health right now, and I think it's great and it's so important. And I kind of just wanted to outline some of the apps that I think are some of the best apps out there right now, and they take just a second a day to fill out. And I know we're all on our phones a lot. So just having, you could set the notifications or just having little reminders throughout the day to fill it out for a minute can really just be absolutely a breakthrough. What's Up is the first app I wanted to outline, and this is a positive and negative habit tracker, and it tries to maintain your good habits. So it just tells you which are counterproductive to what you want to achieve, and it also gives you different pages where there are hundreds of different questions to pinpoint how you're feeling and how to stop those negative internal monologues. And again, we tend to be very negative internally, so using those positive affirmations out loud to make ourselves feel better is very important. The next app is Headspace, and this is one that's pretty popular. I know some people use it. These are guided meditations for all different types of emotions, even getting to sleep, going back to having that good sleep schedule. And I believe up until the end of 2020, maybe longer now, but you can receive certain premium meditations for free. So typically they cost things, but now through 2020, because of COVID, we can receive those for free, which is great. Right under that is Calm, which is also a very popular one. And I know they have developed many different voices and some pretty prominent celebrities and well-known people that kind of guide you through their meditation. Mood Fit is an app that keeps track of your daily goals. It's like using a journal, and it helps you understand the correlation between your mood and the lifestyle factors. So something such as every time you drink coffee, you become jittery and anxious, and then it kind of encourages you, okay, maybe we could cut back on that. And then Happify is just an app that has tools and programs, including games that help just boost moods and thoughts. And the books I wanted to outline here, Detox Your Thoughts and First We Make the Beast Beautiful, are kind of books that help with stress and anxious thoughts and feelings and things like that. And the 5 Love Languages, I feel, is something really important, where it kind of outlines how we show love to each other, where one person shows love a certain way and another person shows love a different way. And it kind of explains to you how that's okay that we show love in different ways. And then the documentaries I wanted to outline were The Mind Explained on Netflix and This Emotional Life. You can find on Amazon Prime. And then the big thing with mental health, and I know some people are reluctant to do so, but personally, and I'm a bit biased on this, but I think talking to a therapist is one of the best things you can do for yourself. First, I want to outline that therapists are trained professionals. Clinicians, we're trained to listen in order to understand our clients, encourage independent thinking and self-reflection, and highlight people's blind spots. You know, sometimes we don't realize we're doing things until someone else tells us. As a licensed professional counselor, I was required to receive 800 hours in internship and a master's degree. So there's a lot of training to it. There's a lot of schooling to it, but it's very important. The next part I wanted to talk about was therapy is completely objective. You know, a lot of people say, I talk to my friends, that's kind of my therapy. And while that is absolutely great, friends do have something at stake in your life, and their views, needs, or opinions are going to color their interaction, whether they're aware of it or not. So while therapists care for their clients, they have no stake in your life. It's completely objective. It's all about you. And they're trained to be aware of their biases and reactions and kind of work through those. Friendship allows for safety in many ways, but there are things that a lot of people would disclose in therapy that they may be uncomfortable sharing with a family member or a friend. And that just tells you that the therapist is able to dig deeper and kind of unravel the layers of yourself that you might not even know were there. Next part is that everything in therapy is completely confidential. There is an ethical code that we are held to that ensures confidentiality. You are not allowed to tell anything that your client said unless they are harming themselves or others. And that is about the only time they are allowed to say anything that happened in the session. So if you are ever nervous to go to a therapist, you know, in case they were to tell someone, they were to tell something about what you said, it is completely confidential and it is against the code of ethics, and they are susceptible to losing their license if a breach of confidentiality is reached. And then lastly, every session is completely about you and whatever you are dealing with. The client leads the session. So it's designed for you, led by you. Whatever comes with where you want to lead the session can be discussed. And then again, if you don't want to, you don't have to. Hearing objective thoughts, again, can uncover and help change certain thoughts that you do have. So in conclusion, again, mental health affects every aspect of our lives, including physical health. So that's kind of a big thing as to why you should care about it. And people all around us are dealing with their own mental health issues. I'm sure that each and every one of us knows someone that is dealing with a mental health issue, if you are not dealing with it also. Some small things are, again, tracking your achievements, write out what is bothering you, plan things for your life, be excited about things, and please incorporate some sleep. Also try and incorporate mindfulness, call your friends and family, use positive affirmations with yourself, and try and track your emotions. And the main thing is truly get to know yourself, get to know what makes you feel good. And if it comes down to it, please reach out to a therapist. It is truly one of the best things you can do for yourself. And here is my contact information. If you do have a question and you're uncomfortable with asking it within the group or within the meeting, you can message me on any of these social medias, or you could also email me. That's no problem. And I thank you so much. And let me just get to the questions now. Oh, no questions. Okay, does anyone have any questions?
Thanks, Ivana. It's Maria Jukic. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I decided to just ask you verbally instead of writing it down a couple of questions. The slide that you had of resources, like the apps, the books, and the movies, can you make that available to us? I'd like to use it myself.
Absolutely.
But I also would like to be able to post it on our, ACAP Cleveland page,
Mhm.
just so that's the first question. The second question is, where can people go to find a therapist if they're looking for one? Like, what are your suggestions? Like, if someone leaves this conversation, like, that's a good idea.
Mhm.
I want to find a therapist. Like, where would you suggest people go look?
Number one, a lot of people go through their insurance. So your insurance provider will probably have a list of providers that they go by. So that's the main place to look. And the next is honestly a quick Google search. You can find people all over the area, really anyone. Or if you know about certain places, truly just going on their website. It's very easy to find people and call people. So
Thank
I would say going through the insurance first, because that's probably your main concern first, is will insurance cover it? So I would go through your insurance and find a list of their providers that accept that insurance. And then another thing is, if you really have kind of a free range, a quick Google search for the area and you'll find lists of them. And also, I was going to say about therapy is that you don't have to stick with the first therapist you find. It's about you. So if the first therapist you talk to, you're kind of uncomfortable with, go to the next one. There's no shame in it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Is there any other questions?
There's some more questions in the chat box.
Oh, I'll check those. So first, suggesting someone who needs therapy but kind of is uncomfortable with the stigma around it, I would kind of tiptoe around the idea at first, kind of open up the conversation about mental health, about what's happening, and maybe even, again, like friends, relate it kind of back to your own life, and how, mental health has affected you and things like that. And then slowly incorporate the talks of therapy and what would be best, and suggesting, oh, we could go together or do an online therapist. There are also lots of apps or websites that have online therapists. So if kind of the problem is you don't want to see that therapist, and they don't want to meet with them in person, there are a bunch of websites where you can talk to people. So I would just introduce first the talk of mental health, and then kind of slowly get into the talk of a therapist. The apps are absolutely appropriate for kids and teens. And again, those are just some of the apps. If you do a quick Google search, there are thousands of apps that would be helpful for those. But all of those apps that I suggested are appropriate for everyone. And therapy during Corona, it kind of depends on your therapist. As of right now, there are some that are accepting people into the office with masks, social distancing. A lot are doing a virtual meet, which I know deters some people. So if you wanted to wait until this time was kind of over to start therapy and be able to do it in person, that's absolutely okay. But I would say it just depends on the therapist. Some people are allowing people into their offices, and others are doing it through things like Microsoft Teams and Google Hangouts like we are. It just really depends on the person. Yeah, absolutely. So I think the main thing with kids and toddlers especially is introducing the topic of mental health. So talking about their feelings and having them recognize their feelings. So if your toddler or a child is really freaking out over something, talk to them about their emotions. Why are you mad? What made you mad? Are you sad about this? What made you sad? So really just having an emotional talk with them, and introduce their thoughts and emotions is the big thing. And so I think that when kids know their emotions and recognize why they feel certain ways, and recognize the underlying feelings, it's really important. So, for example, if a child acts out in anger in school, typically that child is feeling some sort of sadness or anger about something at home. So being able for the child to recognize their underlying feeling will do loads for their mental health. And then if no one has any other questions, that's fine. Oh, here we go. Again, just kind of starting very slow. Don't push the idea, because the more you push about talking about feelings, the more people are inclined to kind of pull back and not speak about them at all and get kind of angry at the topic. So talking about a movie or a TV show that that person likes, and talking about the character's feelings or something similar to that, or talking about something that they like or a famous person that they like, and kind of talking about how that person felt and what their feelings were like, will be very helpful. And then you can kind of slowly turn into a conversation about, oh, how would you have handled that? How would you like that? So kind of flipping the conversation into how it would be helpful to that person. But starting out kind of slow and talking about just a common conversation can be very helpful. If a child is exhibiting anger because of a home situation, number one, if you are able to talk to that family, talk to that home, I would absolutely encourage you to do so, because a lot of times if there is something happening at home, there's a bigger picture, there's a bigger task to talk about. And if not, if you're not able to talk to the family at home or talk to the parents at home, then I would absolutely set times throughout the day to talk to that child. And children, especially little children, they don't have a big attention span. So setting aside 10 minutes here and there just to talk about what's happening at home, how they're dealing with it and their anger, can be really helpful, because you become kind of a safe space for that child. And that a lot of kids that are dealing with anger is really what they're looking for.
Ivana, this is Maria Jukic again.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a need for dual language therapists and counselors and social workers and psychologists. First of all, you should consider opening your own practice if you don't have one, because with your Croatian language, we could send, people to you who might have a language barrier. So I'm just making that suggestion to you. On a similar note, do you know of any like Croatian American association for therapists? And if not, maybe you could start one as part of ACAP Cleveland, like reach out and try to find all the Croatian American, especially bilingual therapists.
Yeah, I mean, I have not heard of anyone yet, but that would be amazing.
Yeah. Well, we'll put that task on you, Ivana.
Okay, thank you. And if there are no more questions, I really appreciate everyone's time, and thank you for allowing me to present to you tonight.
Ivana, it's Maria Jukic again. I want to thank you too for sharing your knowledge with us. And in listening to your presentation, I'm thinking several times you had said about slowly engaging people with this conversation, especially if we notice, some trouble signs for, children or anyone really, especially under these, coronavirus pandemic circumstances. I would like to ask you, moving forward, to maybe once a month or every couple weeks or something, to provide us a list of new books or videos or topics so that we could continue the conversation among ACAP Cleveland, and then you help provide us tools that we could share then with our circle of friends and family and acquaintances. So
Yeah,
I think thank you. Yeah, I think this is the first introduction, and then we'll put the video available to make it available to people, but to continue to really share the knowledge with the community. You know, we're going to need each other, and this topic, I think, more and more as we move through the next period of time. So thank you so much, Ivana.
Thank you.
One comment that just came through is that if anyone has any masterclass suggestions, or if you want to hear Ivana speak on another mental health topic, feel free to email us at cleveland@croampro.com. And thank you, everyone. And Ivana, I don't know if you're able to put up your slide again with your contact info.
Yeah, let me just share my screen again.
Yeah, let's do that so that, you know, we'll take maybe just a minute after we end to have your contact info there if people want to jot it down or
Sure.
take a screenshot or something.
It is loading. I'll get to that in one moment.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Our next masterclass is on Tuesday, September 1st, and Ariana Chubela is going to talk to us about Google Ads 101. And after that, hopefully we'll have some other ACAP members also interested in making presentations to us. Ariana, is there anything you want to say or type into the comments about your upcoming presentation? And this is pretty much just as we wait for Ivana's screen to load.
Thanks, Maria. No, actually, I have to chat with you all. I think I'm going to change the content so it's more applicable to everyone, and it's going to be related to productivity tools. So think about Gmail, Google Docs, Google Slides, and my favorite, Google Calendar. So I'll send out more information, and also with this session being recorded, it's also going to be uploaded to YouTube, like our last session, and those links will be shared so you can rewatch it, look at the contact information, and share with others if you want.
Thank you.
And my contact information, I put it in the chat box because the presentation was taking a bit. But I'm Ivana Didovic on all social media, so if you need to reach me, you can reach me there too.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.